Well, here we are with the 2023 Toyota RAV4 Limited, and nothing quite says I'm middle class and I have kids like a RAV4. They've been around forever. People have always bought a ton of these things. They're kind of tried and true, like a pair of your dad's old gym sneakers that he just probably should have thrown out a couple years ago. But for some reason, I love this thing. This is my family's daily driver. I'm gonna review it for you all and give you the clear, honest review of this vehicle because we've beaten the hell out of this vehicle. We've driven it about 8,000 miles within the last year, and I'm gonna tell you what I love about it and what I hate about it. So grab a coffee and stick around. Let's check it out. All right, well, here we are inside the 2023 RAV4 Limited. This is a fully gas model with a 2.5 liter, 203 horsepower engine. This does not have the hybrid powertrain. It is all-wheel drive. Obviously, I always buy all-wheel drive cars. And it does not, it is obviously not the RAV4 Prime. So this is the basic engine that you can get. Now, let's talk about the interior and what it's been like owning this car and how comfortable it is on a day-to-day basis, because this is not one of those cars that you buy for sportiness or whatever it might be. You buy this for utility, you buy this for resale value, you buy this for reliability. All of those things are reasons why I bought it, but let's get into how it's been, how it's lived up to the hype. So the interior has been a really nice place to be. So we've taken a lot of long road trips in this car, and the interior is a really nice place to be. So we opted for the lighter interior, as you can probably see here, and the touch points are all really good. I mean, it's not obviously, you know, Lexus level interior quality, but it's pretty good for what it is and the price that we paid for it. I think we paid around $40 out the door on this thing, and then I had to pay tax, obviously. But yeah, it's really good for the price point that you're playing at here, and I think that it does really well against the Honda CRV. There's a lot of debate around, you know, is this better than the CRV? Is the CRV better than the RAV4? Well, I personally drove both of them. I didn't really love the ergonomics inside the CRV. I know they did a whole redesign of the interior, and yes, it is nicer than it used to be. Much nicer than it used to be, because it used to be trash. But I still like the way the ergonomics of the RAV4 kind of are laid out. You have a lot of physical buttons on the steering wheel here. You have a lot of physical buttons for the HVAC system. You have an auto and an off button. You have dials. You have all of the physical buttons that you're pretty much used to in a vehicle, which I really love. I didn't really want a whole screen in my car. I'm not a big fan of fully digital screens. Now, the RAV4 does have plenty of screens, though. I have a fully digital dash. I have the, you know, whatever this is, 10-inch touchscreen here. I have the JBL sound system because we got the limited version of the RAV. So overall, the interior is well equipped. The leather on the seats, the fake leather, is pretty decent. I would recommend the lighter interior. We also got the sunroof as well. Overall, it's been pretty comfortable. I've been a fan. On road trips, it's been pretty roomy. We've had plenty of room for putting the dog in the back in the trunk area. We have a 60-pound golden retriever. I have a car seat back here where we keep my son. You know, my wife fits in up front or in the back when we're loaded down, no problem. And as you probably saw, I have a roof rack on the top for extra storage. It's been pretty good. Now, one of the reasons that I got the RAV4 was because of resale value, and I know that my family may be growing over the next couple of years. We might have another child, and at that point, we would probably upgrade to a little bit of a larger vehicle. But if you just have one child, and you could absolutely get away with two kids in a RAV4, it's just you might want a little bit more storage space, and I kind of plan to trade this in, and that's why I purchased something that has really good resale value, because when I trade it in a few years, I want to get as much back for the vehicle as I can so I can roll that equity into my next larger vehicle, which will probably be maybe a Lexus GX, but who knows, we'll see, TBD on that. In terms of everything else in the interior, you have a bunch of drive mode selectors in the center console here. So you have Eco, Normal, Sport. You have a rotary dial here that goes from mud and sand to rock mode. You have a snow mode, and you also have a hill descent assist control over here, which is really nice to have in this vehicle. I haven't taken it off-roading yet. I do plan to take it off-roading up in the North Georgia mountains here and just test the all-wheel drive system and see how it does, but I think it'll do pretty well. So those are some of my likes of the interior. Some of my dislikes, though, that we've had, some problems that we've had with this car that are a little bit annoying, is the CarPlay system in this vehicle has been I don't want to say unreliable in terms of like connectivity, but it always automatically connects to my wife's phone, and I drive this vehicle just as much as her. I could probably set myself as the primary. I tried to do that. It seemed to revert back to her, so I had a little bit of an issue with the connectivity. So that's something that I am a little bit annoyed with the infotainment. Other than that, the infotainment works good, except for CarPlay, and this is something that I think has been fixed. So I've been told, I heard it was fixed, and it seems to be fixed on my phone, is when you're doing GPS, when you're routing your GPS through Google Maps or Apple Maps in your CarPlay, a lot of times the vehicle GPS system is not matched up with your phone's GPS system, and it has trouble determining which direction you're going, and it's completely unusable, and there's really nothing you can do about it. And if that happens while you're driving, it could be a safety issue. So for my wife, if she's, you know, an hour away from our house somewhere in Atlanta, and, you know, this is something that like pops up on her and she can't necessarily make it easy to find her way home, that upsets me. So it's something that I think has been fixed. So far, I haven't had an issue with it in the past couple of months, but when I first bought the vehicle, that was driving me completely nuts. So that's one thing to keep in mind. In general, I've been really surprised by how much I've enjoyed this vehicle though. The interior's been comfortable, the ride's been comfortable. It's been something that just really surprised me. I thought that I would want to get rid of this thing. I kind of was just buying it to give my wife a car, and I figured, yeah, we'll roll through that in 6 months. I'll get something new. And you know, I think we're almost at a year of ownership with this vehicle. And obviously it's been super reliable. There's really, you know, nothing to break on these things. The 2.5 liter 4-cylinder in this thing is just a bulletproof engine as long as you take care of it and you swap the oil changes out, which I would recommend doing your oil changes at 5,000 miles rather than 10,000 miles. Toyota does recommend 10,000 miles, but I don't trust 10,000 miles on any of my vehicles. You can get all kind of corrosion in the engine and sludge buildup. Now these things are direct injected and port injected, so that should help a little bit, but it's just one of those things that I'd prefer to change the oil more frequently, so I do. But yeah, other than that, the interior is super comfortable. Let's hop outside and check out the exterior, and then we'll get into the driving review. All right, so let's check out the outside of this thing real quick, but before we do that, let's hop in the back and I'll show you how roomy it is. So I sit in the back, I'm about 5'10". You see I got some pretty good headroom here. We got the car seat right next to me, and my knees, I don't know if you can see this, but my knees are not touching the seat in front of me, so it's pretty decent overall. It's not the most spacious back seat, and you know, it's not like my Lexus GX that I had, but it's pretty comfortable for 2 adults back here, in addition to having a car seat in the middle. So definitely something to think about. And now let's check out the outside of this bad boy. So I think between the CRV and some other vehicles in the space, like Nissan Rogues and things like that, I personally think that the RAV4 is the best looking. I really do. And I say that because in the Limited, you get these really, really nice wheels right here that are like this nice chrome looking wheel, which I don't usually love chrome, but I think those are really nice. Coming around the front, I think the way that the hood and the body lines are aggressive with the aggressive headlights, and when you have the daytime running lights on, I think it just looks like a more rugged vehicle, a little bit more burly and brawny than some of those other vehicles. And the CRV is not bad looking, but I like the looks of the RAV4 better. And you see that I got the roof rack up top. I just think it gives it a nice rugged look. You got pretty decent ground clearance on these things, and it's all-wheel drive, so if you want to, you could take it off-road, and I am going to do a review of this thing and test it out off-road at some point. But yeah, I think the exterior is really nice. The only thing that I like better on another model is that the hybrid model has a different colored roof back here, and it actually is has like a black section of the roof that I think looks really good. The Limited does not have that, but I wanted the Limited for some of the features that it does come with. So on the exterior, you have, you know, automatic doors at every, you know, touch point, and you also have the automatic lift gate here that I can probably pop up right now. Yep, you got the automatic lift gate there. One touch, and you'll see in the back that it's fairly roomy. We have a stroller and some things back here right now, but it's pretty roomy. And when you put the seats down, it gets really roomy. We can't put the seats down because we have the car seat in there, but in general, it's a really, really roomy vehicle, more than I think, you know, you would expect. I think the CRV technically is a little bit roomier. I don't have some box test. If you guys subscribe to the channel, I can do something more, you know, elaborate like that as we build out the videos here, but yeah, it's a pretty roomy back seat. There hasn't really been, and you know, back cargo area, there hasn't really been a time that I haven't been able to fit everything into it. But all right, that's the exterior. Now let's go get it out on the road, and we'll do a quick driving review for you, and then we'll wrap this up, and I'll tell you why I picked this as my family's daily driver and as our current daily, and why I love it so much. Let's go. All right, so how does the RAV4 drive? Now, it's one of those vehicles that you gotta take it for what it is. It's a RAV4, right? It's not meant to be a sports car. So with that in mind, let's talk about what it does well. What it does well is it's super, super, super comfortable. I will say the suspension has softened the entire time that we've owned it. I think it just keeps getting softer and softer that I've noticed since we bought it new. And long road trips, things like that are super comfortable. Now, the only downside to comfort, I would say, is there is a little bit of cabin road noise. I'm used to my old Lexus GX, which was like whisper quiet everywhere. The Rav4 is not loud by any means, but it is not whisper quiet on the highway. It's a little bit noisier, but that's just kind of the nature of the beast. It's a cheaper vehicle, less NVH throughout the cabin, things like that, but it's still pretty good for what it is. Wind noise is pretty good. Not great. That'd be like a little bit of a complaint that I do have. I'd like it to be a little bit quieter in here. But in terms of overall comfort, it's an extremely comfortable vehicle to drive. It's also a vehicle that you just hop in and you know where everything is, because there's nothing weird going on here other than you have a digital dash and you got your big infotainment. All of your buttons and your shifter are normal. You know, you got drive mode selectors. Everything's really straightforward. And that's something that is just great about this RAV4. It's just old reliable. It's just tried and true. There's nothing that you're getting that's going to surprise you or scare you or freak you out or be kind of hard to learn. It's awesome when it comes to that stuff. As I mentioned, this is the regular motor. This is not the hybrid. This is not the Prime. One drawback I'd say for driving is it's a little bit slow. It's good on fuel though. It's getting 25 miles to the gallon, I think I'm averaging. That's my true average around town, on the highway, everywhere. So 25 miles to the gallon for, you know, how large this is and how much, you know, how many people and how much cargo capacity I have in here. It's pretty good. I mean, I'll take it. And it runs on, you know, 87 octane, so it's super cheap to fill up every time I fill it up. I really, really like it for that reason. And in terms of driving dynamics, it's really comfortable to drive, man. I mean, look, it's got the old school feel to the steering. It's probably an electronic steering, but it kind of feels like it could be hydraulic. I'm not really sure, to be honest. I could check on that. But, you know, everything just seems very manual, and, you know, you feel in tune with the vehicle. You can kind of feel what's happening when you're driving, and it's not super numb. That's something that I was a complaint that I had in the CRV. I didn't really like how it felt when driving it. This thing just feels solid and you feel connected to it. So it's very, very intuitive. And that's one thing that I would say. It's just, you know what you're going to get. Now, with that said, it's very, I would say, underpowered with the regular engine. So it's not, the hybrid's probably a little bit better with like 240 horsepower, whatever it has. But this engine, I just find it to be a little bit underpowered. But even though it's underpowered, as long as you know what it is and you're not really worried about getting around quick, you just kind of drive around and do your thing, it's actually pretty comfortable to drive. And if you do need to get up and go, you just have to rev the shit out of this thing. I mean, you can rev it to, it redlines at 6,500 RPMs, and you know, it sounds like it's gonna blow up. When you step on the pedal, it's one of the loudest 4-cylinders in a new car that I've ever heard without a turbo, and it sounds like it's gonna blow up. But you know what? It never does blow up. Ready? I'll give you, we're at a light right here. Let's give it a little rip. And it'll rev out for you. I mean, it took it to 6.5 right there. That's pretty good. It's pretty funny though, man. You probably heard that. It's definitely loud, and you don't go anywhere. But it does, you can get out in front of traffic if you need to. It has a sport mode, which really just seems to change the way the transmission shifts. So I think it has the 8-speed automatic transmission. When you put it in sport mode, you do get a little bit more response. I do appreciate that it has sport mode. I actually use that quite a bit. And then when you're kind of going through the curves like we are right here, it handles through, you know, like any unibody vehicle, unibody SUV. It's pretty planted. It leans a little bit because, you know, it is a little bit top heavy, but it's pretty planted through turns. The tires that come on this thing stock are pretty large sidewalls, so you also get, you know, pretty good cushioning through those, and it really does just make the ride enjoyable and comfortable. So overall, the ride is pretty good. That's my take on the RAV4. It doesn't do anything you don't want it to do. It's a little bit loud, but it's pretty damn good, and for how reliable it is, it's awesome. All right, so let's get into our final conclusions though of this vehicle. My conclusion of the RAV4 is that it's a great, awesome daily family hauler after driving it for 8,000 miles. You might find yourself needing more space, and if you do, that's fine. You might want to upgrade to something like a Highlander or something like that. But for right now, for me and my family, it's a great vehicle to own. It does everything well. It's good on gas. It's never gonna freaking break down on us. I know that because it's the old Toyota powertrain. So it's been proven, and I love that about this thing. I'll idle it for a long time. I'll beat it up. I'll rev it. I'll do whatever I have to. I don't really care about driving it super long, super hot temperatures. I just know it's gonna be fine. And it really has been. The other thing that I will say about this vehicle is that it's a great vehicle in terms of resale value. So I mentioned I bought this with the intention to possibly trade it in and upgrade to a larger vehicle when our family starts to grow. And one of the reasons I purchased a RAV4 and I was comfortable purchasing it brand new instead of purchasing something like a certified pre-owned is because RAV4s hold their value better than almost anything else out there. They're a super in-demand car. They have a reputation for reliability. They're good looking. They last. A lot of reasons, but there is a good amount of demand for these vehicles, particularly in higher trims. So it's pretty safe to kind of park your money in, and you know you're not going to burn up all the equity that you have in your vehicle. So that was another reason why I picked it up. And you know, lastly, I'll just say that it's really just been everything that we need it to be. It's not trying to be something that it's not. I think if you're buying this for the right reasons, you'll be extremely happy with this vehicle, as me and my family have been. So with that, if you have any questions, drop them down in the comments below. I try to get back to everybody's comments as we're growing the channel here. It's been a lot of fun. And if you found this video to be helpful, I would really appreciate you subscribing to support the channel. I know it doesn't seem like much, but it really does help me. The more subscribers that I have, the more videos that I can make, the more reputability that I have when I go to car dealers to get vehicles to test and things like that. And I want to bring more test vehicles to the channel to you guys. So with that, I appreciate you guys checking out the channel. You know, thanks for tuning in to Making Monroe. I know the channel used to be Cars No Cap, and we went to Making Monroe. If you got any better ideas for the channel name as we grow, drop them down below. Let me know. I'm still open to kind of figuring out what we're going to call the channel. And if you're interested in Audi S4s, I have another video coming up soon. I'm going to start modifying my Audi S4. That's my daily driver, my personal daily driver when we don't have the kid in the car. So if you're interested in that journey, follow along for that as well. But all right, thanks for hanging out with me, guys. I'll catch you in the next one. Peace.